told me quit my job. Spirit told me don't you worry, nigga, that's your favorite God. Spirit told me press the gas. Spirit told me keep it solid, nigga. Know they on your back. Young nigga, take heed.
Queen,
turn that down. What we listening to in the living room today?
That is Take Heed by Chief Ray. It is streaming on all platforms as of yesterday. So it is brand new.
Brand new to your airwaves.
So check that out. Like I said, it's on all platforms. Y'all know I am a fan of Chief Ray, so check it out. Queen. How are ya?
I'm well.
Look at us on our
announcement today.
We do. Look at us on our weekly podcast grind. It only took 3-4 months of quarantine to get it right.
Yeah, y'all know when we started this podcast, at first we were like, let's do it every week, and then we're like, whoa, let's do it once a month. And then we be struggling because we are actually it's almost our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah. Shout out to us.
But we are only this is episode 21. So basically, needless to say, we did not get 52 weeks worth of podcasts recorded. But, you know,
Yikes.
Hey, baby steps. We're still new to the game. We still getting our foot
You know
sweat.
what? And it's a new year, new us. So we're going to speak into existence, and we're going to get this podcast out regularly on a weekly basis unless, the world goes to shit again and we need a mental break. But other than that,
which, could very well happen.
Yeah, we finna be locked in.
Yeah, for sure.
Locked in. Yes, ma'am. All right, you ready to kick off month in review?
Oh, I was gonna tell them our announcement.
Oh, whoops. Well, what is it? What'd you call it? Throw it back.
And look back at it.
Yeah, look back at it. Go ahead,
no. So I'm gonna start with our giveaway announcement. That's right, people. We are doing our first ever giveaway.
Yeah.
What is going to be in this giveaway, you might ask? This is going to be a care package of all Black-owned things. Y'all, I'm so excited because I just basically posted on my story and asked people what they would want in their giveaway package. And y'all hit us with a book, okay? Because y'all said candles, books, sage, cleaning supplies, watches, laundry detergent, dish soap, jewelry. Y'all literally said everything under the sun. So I went to work trying to find all Black-owned things.
She went to work.
The response has been overwhelming, to say the least. We have so many brands that we're going to be partnering with for this giveaway. We're really, really excited about it. You will see when we post it. The giveaway will be 2 weeks long. It'll start July 15th, and it'll end July 31st, and we will be sending out the care package on August 1st, y'all. So you have 2 weeks to get into the giveaway contest. It'll be pretty simple. You'll just be liking the post, sending it to your story, tagging us so we can see it. You're going to follow the living room, or you're going to follow at livingroom44_40. That's our podcast page.
Yep.
And then you're going to comment on the post the title of your favorite episode so far. So if you just go to the link in our bio, it'll pull up Sydney's website, which has all of our episodes listed where you can listen to them: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, whatever. So if you just go through all those and let us know which one is your favorite episode using the title of the episode, and that is your entry, people. We're going to be doing the old school name in a bowl, draw it out the fair.
We're about to do it the red table talk way.
Yeah, the fishbowl way.
Fishbowl way.
Yeah, exactly. So we're super excited about that. It's going to be a ton of stuff. So far, I've had, just to date, 10 sponsors already reach back out, and most of them are trying to send more than one thing. So we might even have more than one winner. So we will see. But we're really excited to show you guys everything that will be given away for free, all Black-owned items. Y'all know how we do it.
Yes.
So
shout out.
Being said, that is our major announcement.
I would just like to say shout out to the good sis, my good sis, Aisha Damali, for putting in that work, reaching out to all these sponsors. I am the creator. I'm the content creator side. Aisha is the giveaway side. So I'm not about to take no credit for any of this. This was her idea. This is her baby. I'm very proud of you for doing that work, putting that time in. I'm glad
thank you, Queen.
You're getting such a positive response back. I think that is dope. So
I shot my shot at Raycon, so we're gonna see if we can get us some headphones.
Yo, you hit the Easter right. Hey, King, I know you're busy, but
hey King, excuse me, I shot my shot. Because you know what it was? I reached out to so many brands, and literally the response was like, literally from everybody who responded was, oh my gosh, Queens, this sounds amazing. Your giveaway sounds so authentic and fun and genuine, and your podcast sounds great. I definitely want to be a part of it. How many products should I send, and what address do I send it to? And I was like, oh, well, damn.
Yeah, that's dope.
If y'all are energetic like this, let me continue to push the envelope. And I was like, you know what? Ray J got some headphones, and that's a black-owned thing. So
and he's got those glasses that you can like click, clack, look over. That's the unbreakable glasses. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me find that Instagram page because I'm gonna email that one too. Yeah. So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
what's up. So y'all, we were debating some new names for our segment that we call Month in Review because
Debating.
it's not always a month of review. It's sometimes a week, sometimes it's 2 months. So I told Sydney we should call the Month in Review segment the Look Back at It. Look back at it. Hey!
And that sounds very you. And I was like, maybe we should just have 2 separate names. You should call yours the Look Back at It.
Mine is gonna be the nice, vulgar Look Back at It. Sydney's is probably gonna be like, in conclusion.
Yep, that sounds about right. Mine is gonna be the reserved, refined Angela Bassett. What would Michelle Obama do? Well, Michelle Obama got her nipples pierced.
What? What?
You
Wait,
seen that
what?
picture? You haven't seen that picture of Michelle Obama?
No,
You can see
what?
her nipple piercing?
No, God, no.
I'm gonna send it to you right now.
What?
I can't believe you didn't know that.
No.
I thought you of all people would have known.
No. How in the world is this the first thing we're talking about?
I can't believe, it's right here. I'm about to send it to you.
Okay, well then, Sydney, you have just solidified that it's going to be called Look Back at It because obviously you're a vulgar girl yourself. I could not believe you.
It was on TV. It's not my fault.
I want to see. Send it to me.
I'm sending it to you now. And I feel like this has to be a nipple ring. Oh, I don't know. It could be a nipple. Maybe it's just a nipple. No, it looks like a nipple ring.
Oh my God.
You see it?
That's amazing. Who got to pierce the First Lady's nipples? Yo, I just thought of the title for this episode. Ooh, you know what's funny? Where I record my podcast, there is a picture of my great grandma and a picture of my dad, and they both looking at me.
I'm so weak right now.
Oh my God.
gosh.
Who got to pierce the First Lady's nipples? I'm shook.
I can't believe. I thought that was common knowledge. I feel like if I knew, I thought everybody else knew.
No, but you know how they like tailor dresses and stuff. Maybe that's what that is.
Maybe. Mm-mm. It might not. It's not as protruding as I thought it was.
It's probably like a Secret Service bulletproof ricochet vest.
And it's that small?
Yeah, they got top secret weapons.
It's just in case someone tries to shoot her in the nipple specifically.
Wow, the titles just keep flowing into my brain. Oh man.
Make sure you write them down. I'm excited.
All right. Well, Queen, what next to Michelle Obama's nipples, what else is in Look Back at It this week?
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the renaming of the Redskins.
Oh, yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so what I found in my research was that since acquiring the team in 1999, Daniel Snyder has ignored countless voices seeking a change to the franchise's name that many people find offensive. So now there's mounting pressure from sponsors and advertisers in the wake of the nationwide movement against racial and social injustice, which I think is so dope. Washington appears set to adopt a new nickname, though Snyder reportedly remains resistant to the idea. So I was reading articles, and they basically made it out to sound like the owner, Daniel Snyder, is hard-headed ass motherfucker that don't listen to nobody. It does say that if he doesn't change the name, he could potentially lose sponsors from Nike, FedEx, and Pepsi Cola. And he also wouldn't be able to move the team from Landover, Maryland, back to Washington, D.C. Apparently, that's their contract with, if I understand correctly, the stadium that they're in now is like a FedEx stadium. I guess that's what it's called. And their contract with them runs out in 2027. And so I guess the owner had wanted to move to Washington, D.C., Which, on one hand is very befitting for a team to be called the Redskins and be in Washington, D.C. Because what comes to mind when I think about that is when I read 12 Years a Slave, and Solomon Northup talked about being held in a slave pen that literally was like in the shadow of the Capitol, like it was like right across the street. And so he was saying that it was interesting to hear the rattling of slave chains commingled with the voices of freedom and liberty coming from across the street. And so I'm like, on one hand, that's very befitting. But on the other hand, of course, in general, I hope they do change it because the name is obviously very offensive. Like if that team was called and you've seen the shirts before, like the crackers,
The Caucasians.
if it was called the niggas, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we would be like, huh? So I'm like, it's definitely very offensive. But I did see, it says that, so it does say that the team's lease with FedEx Field is up in 2027. So yeah, they are at FedEx Field, and it's interesting that FedEx is like, we're gonna drop y'all too. But it says it hopes to come back to DC for the first time since it left in 1996. So apparently they were in DC before. I didn't know that. Of course, I was only born in '94 and I don't pay football any attention, so that would make sense. But they said for that to happen, they have to change the name. And it says that the team has gone by that name since 1933, and that Snyder has fought back against the name change.
And I think the first statement that I saw about it was literally like, in light of the events with George Floyd, and I'm like, why do these big white corporations keep doing shit like this? Like, why do they keep saying, in light of George Floyd, we realize that we're racist as fuck and have been since the beginning of our time. And what's his name? Snyder?
Daniel Snyder.
Daniel Snyder, like in his case, since literally 1932, 33, like this is where you've been at, and you have not been moved until 2020.
Yeah. But he acquired the team in 1999, so the name has just been that since 1930. He's not that old. He old as hell.
I just mean like the name of the team.
Oh,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
You like I guess not him, but you, the creator of the team, have gotten pushback from it since the beginning of time. And no matter how many hands it's been in, nobody was like, oh, you know what? We should start paying this attention that people are mad about this. Also, their nickname is like the Skins. That don't sound shitty to anybody.
There's that.
And by anybody, I mean obviously the white people, because again, natives and other people of color and marginalized groups have been complaining about the name since as long as I can remember, and I'm 26. So.
Yeah, it makes me sad because again, like the optimistic side of me goes, oh yeah, maybe they really did have a change of heart, because I remember meeting I had a coworker at Transit, and she was telling me that I don't remember which incident like in Black history that it was. Like I don't know if it was Trayvon Martin or if it was Michael Brown. Like I don't know which person it was, but she was like, what's going on? Like I don't get it. And she was like, and then I started doing research, and I just had a complete change of heart. Like I don't remember if she said that she had been like a conservative person, but I feel like she basically kind of alluded to being raised up with conservative values and that kind of thing. And I completely understand this idea, and I'm going to get into this more when we start talking about Nick Young, but I completely understand being raised with a certain ideology, and so why that it just makes sense to you from a base level, but then, and so it's hard to like, kind of like when you're telling people like, oh, meat is bad for you. I ain't been lied to my whole life. Meat ain't bad for you. It's like, okay, girl. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same thing with like racist values and traditions and morals and things like that too. It's like, no, this is what I was raised on. It can't be wrong. So I feel like that's very hard for some people to admit. But yeah, I just think so where I was going with that is it makes me sad because the more pessimistic side of me is like, y'all only doing this because Nike, FedEx, and Pepsi was like, and we'll take our money. And did. So I feel like for me, I'm like, I want to believe that Daniel Snyder or who really has the power is really like, oh yeah, let's change this because of George Floyd's death. I realize that we've been doing so many things wrong, but I'm more so like, girl, you don't care. You just care that you're going to lose this good old check. Because I know Nike probably cashes a very large check for the Redskins. So yeah, it just makes me sad that everything does come down to money in this country, which is another reason why I just keep trying to find that boat that's gonna take me over to Africa, get the fuck out of here, blow this popsicle stand.
What was the name of Marcus Garvey's boat that they burned down?
The Black Star, something with Star. Let's see, I'm about to look it up. Marcus Garvey boat. Hopefully, I know Wikipedia gonna come up first, but hopefully it gives me the right name.
I was gonna say.
The Black Star Line. I knew it had star in it. I knew it had black in it. Go me. I better remember things.
Go me. Go you. Sis.
But you know, crazy. I was reading about another black man that was the first black man to talk about like an exodus, like leaving. But I can't remember all the details. So I don't want to go into it too much. But it was just interesting to know that there were people before him too that were like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm about to take this good old cargo ship, girl. Yeah. But anyway,
Mhm.
shout out to all of the people who are indigenous and who descend from indigenous peoples who are
Mhm.
finally about to not have to, hear about a football team called the Redskins. I hope that
Mhm.
after all of this time, because even then too, like now it's okay, cool, it's finally changing. But again, I know this ain't just a new thought. Like people have been talking about this for years. I remember when we first started studying Black history, like when we were still at ECU. I feel like that was the first time I ever paid it any attention was back then, and that's still been what 4, 6, 8. How many years ago? 2016. So that's still been at least 4 years that I know of that people have been fighting against this and talking about how it was wrong. And I know it's way more years involved in that. But it's just crazy to know that people have been arguing about this same thing for years, and it took
Yeah.
money, a mass amount of money, to be like, okay, we'll finally listen to what y'all got to say. But shout out to Nike though, because and not to say Nike is perfect. I'm sure they do a whole bunch of things. So I don't trust any major corporation to be honest.
Right.
But said it to say, shout out to Nike for doing the whole Colin Kaepernick advertisements and for saying
Snatching all those things off.
yeah, say shout out to Nike for saying we will not
They
give
took that
y'all.
shit off their website like T.I. took that damn necklace from Nunu.
Wait, what stuff off the website?
They took all the Washington Redskins
Oh yeah yeah
merch
yeah
off
yeah
their
yeah.
NFL merchandise or off of
Mhm
their website. They took all the
mhm.
merchandise off their
Yeah,
website.
shout out. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of white energy I like to see. That's the kind of powerful
Mm-hmm.
energy I like to see.
Come on, white energy.
Yeah, hello. I know if Nike ain't black owned, so anyway, so I got
Did you want to
one.
talk about some of the names that they were thinking of?
Sure. I didn't write those down. Let me see.
Okay, I can read them off.
Okay.
Some of the things that they were thinking about renaming the Washington Redskins were going to be the presidents, the generals, the Lincolns. What? Americans. Girl, what?
Wait. Have you seen You haven't seen the Temptations, right? You haven't seen the whole thing.
Girl, no.
See, you probably, I don't know if you got to the part where they were trying to figure out a name and they were like, the spectacles. And they were like, no. They just kept rhyming. And at one point they were like passing the ball around. And the dude caught it. He was like, the testicles. And they were
Oh
like,
my god.
no. They were like, the
That's
hearses.
basically what they're doing.
Yep.
The kings, memorials, just girl, capitals, veterans. What? There's like what? The Jeffersons, the Roosevelts, the monuments, or the Arlingtons.
You know what I think, and you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up because it reminded me that I wanted to talk about what we were talking about yesterday with like the naming of prisons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like on one hand, I wouldn't want them to name a football team the Malcolm X's, like
Right.
because there's so many other racial things going on in the NFL. Like to me, you can't claim yourself to be a progressive or a race neutral or whatever it is you want to call it. You can't claim to be that to me until you have black owners and until they are again representative of how many black people you have playing for you. But to say like, and I remember we were talking yesterday, and I was thinking about like prisons, like when they were talking about like when we were talking about Rikers Island and how that's just like fulfilling prophecy, like when you know that Richard Riker, who the prison is named after, was somebody that helped to send free black people into slavery and helped to swiftly and unjustly send runaways back into slavery also. And now there's a prison named after him that has all these black and brown people in it, and it's one of the most violent prisons. So it's like, on one hand, it's like, I don't want it to be named after something that just is going to fulfill something evil and horrible happening. But on the other hand, I also wouldn't want to name a prison Harriet Tubman Penitentiary. So it's just very weird. Like, it's like, what do you name these things? Like, how do you properly name a football team? Because I damn sure don't want it named after anything that would be, be fair and just and all those good things. So maybe they should name it the Presidents.
Well, and somebody also had like drawn up like a mock plan. His name was Peter M. Rogers, and he designed it the Washington Red Tails. And said the Red Tails celebrates the World War II Tuskegee Airmen, who were the first African American military aviators in the U.S. Armed Forces. The nickname Red Tails comes from their planes, which also had distinct crimson tail. And Sydney and I talked about that, and we're basically like, so you basically want to pay this Mandingo fight that is the NFL creating CTE and killing all these young black men. You want to name it the Red Tails while also simultaneously blackballing Colin Kaepernick for doing the exact same thing that you just tweeted the other day that you're in support of now, Black Lives Matter. Girl, what?
They should name up the 45s. I think that'd be great.
Well,
That'd be a
then
good
they,
one.
be the worst team ever. Which they're actually a pretty good team. So I don't know if that would work. You would have to. I don't know. Of course, I want it renamed, but all those options, they sound awful. But then again, none of them sound more awful than the Redskins. So whatever.
Yeah, I think honestly, the NFL should have bad names until they start, being a fair organization.
Well, hopefully we can work on fairness before we just change all their names to more shitty ones.
Right, right. But I have one more month in review. But if you want to switch off, okay. I'll just dive right on in there. My next one goes to the nickname Swaggy P or Nick Young. I don't know nothing about basketball. I had to look up and figure out. I knew he was a basketball player, but I had to look up who he played for. So hopefully the internet did not steer me wrong and tell me that he played for the Denver Nuggets. I feel like I know him.
I don't know who he played for anymore. I just know he's a dog down in Ezekiel. That's all I really needed to know.
Mm-hmm. I just know him from those NBA tunnel pictures where people be wearing nice outfits because I feel like he's a icon of fashion in the NBA world these days. I feel like. But anyway, the reason why we are talking about him today is because he tweeted, since we canceling every holiday, when do we have fun? Me and my kids love fireworks and we love Christmas because if you cancel today, you got to cancel Christmas. This canceling stuff is confusing me.
Oh my God.
To that which I would like to say.
so much here. So many things happening.
Yeah, to that which I would like to say, before I state my opinion on this, I would like to say I don't care what holidays people decide they want to celebrate. That is none of my business. But to say, oh, I love fireworks, me and my kids love fireworks, okay, you could do that on Juneteenth. Because that's what I did.
And hello, they've been shooting off fireworks for the past 2 months. At least here where I live, they've been shooting off fireworks every night for the past 2 months.
Yeah, I don't know who started that shit, but it's also been over here too. And I would be like, what's going on? I think it started for me. I don't think I heard any fireworks until Juneteenth got close. So I feel like that's when it started. And I don't know if it was people wanted to, they said, oh, I got fireworks too. And I'm bored. I'm stuck in the house. Let me use these fireworks.
Yeah, that's what it is. People
I guess.
Stuck at home.
Yeah. And so then same thing with, oh, well, what about Christmas? Y'all gonna cancel Christmas? Sir, there's Kwanzaa. There are literally for the least.
Not only that, but it's girl, we're canceling or have been for some people canceling July 4th for a totally different reason than canceling Christmas.
And there's that. But I mean,
where did you even get Christmas from?
I guess because again, there's a whole book out there about I don't know if it's more so the psychology, but it talks about.
Well, you could stop right there because I can assure you he hasn't read any of the books, so that's not where he got this from.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a whole book out there about these white holidays and what they do to Black people on a psychological level. I haven't read it myself, but it was one of the ones that I wanted to read, and I remember I was having this conversation with somebody, and they were saying basically, that same Nick Young thing where it's this is getting out of hand, what we supposed to do for fun, yada, yada, yada. And again, for me, I'm but why would you want, let's say for argument's sake that the book is absolutely correct in that celebrating these white holidays that are all about capitalism and consumerism and a false freedom that doesn't relate to Black people anyway. Let's say that they really are doing something to harm us psychologically. Before you're saying, same thing what I was saying about the whole Redskins and, oh, this is tradition and just people having those conservative values and being raised that way. It's hard. I understand that change is hard, but before you jump on the defense, maybe just read the book or see what the point is so that way you can make an educated decision instead of just, because I feel like we do so many things. When we were reading Don Miguel Ruiz's what is that book called?
The Four Agreements.
The Four Agreements. He talked about being indoctrinated with other people's beliefs and how we've been domesticated like animals and that we don't question the things we've been taught. Our values, our beliefs, they were all taught to us by somebody else unless you've done the work of saying what is this exactly and what exactly does it mean? So same thing with me. Yes, I was absolutely raised to celebrate Christmas. Last week I talked about on the podcast how my dad didn't even know what Juneteenth was. So yes, I was raised to celebrate 4th of July. But do you know how easy it was for me to just assimilate and say, I'm just going to do Juneteenth this year? It wasn't hard. I did the same thing that I normally do for 4th of July. I just did it on Juneteenth. And mind you, don't get me wrong. Of course, one other thing I did was actually look up what Juneteenth was and more information about it and that kind of thing. For me, it was more of a meditative day also. So I definitely did some things that were different, but I enjoyed that more. But of course, I understand that because I am very Black conscious, like Black people, Black history. That's my shit. That's air to me.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but I just think it's so interesting how people latch on to things that they were taught that they've never even questioned for the most part at any point. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, well, what are we supposed to do without Christmas? It's like, girl, there is a whole other holiday. Or you could just give people their gifts throughout the year. Like I'm not a big holiday person anyway, so I also understand that's another reason why it's easier for me to just go, oh, I'll just celebrate on Juneteenth. Yesterday, well, I didn't get on social media yesterday. I didn't give 4th of July none of my energy, none of my attention. I ain't looking at nobody's fireworks. It's that easy to make it no longer existent for me. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say, Nick Young, if you are looking for other holidays to celebrate with your kids, because you love fireworks, like I love fireworks, you could just celebrate Juneteenth. It's a better holiday anyway because celebrating 4th of July is very. If any of the holidays to me are ass backwards for Black people to be celebrating, it's definitely 4th of July because 1776 we were absolutely still in the fields, getting our asses whooped, getting raped, getting torn apart from our families,
Being considered literally not human.
yeah, so it's like
Three-fifths of a human.
if any of them to me are a dove as far as knowing better, doing better, it's definitely 4th of July. So if you love fireworks, just celebrate Juneteenth. It's not hard.
I am always severely, I just feel like concussed almost because I'm always like, how y'all going up for Juneteenth? Because it's like I see it every year. I see it every year when people, oh, Juneteenth, yeah, great time. And then they still got on their Old Navy little T-shirt with the American flag on it or some tacky ass head to toe flag outfit for the 4th. And they're cooking out like, well, I don't really celebrate. I'm just using this as a day to cook out and go to the pool or go to the beach or whatever. I'm like, girl, that's literally what celebrating is. That's the same thing white people are doing. I'm confused as to why you think that what you're doing is anything different. What do you think they do? Sit around on July 4th and name all the generals of their family's history that was, in this war or that one and who had connection to the founding fathers who signed the Declaration of Independence? What do you think celebrating a day even means?
Yeah.
But not only that, but it's like we could teach our children so much easier so they don't have to wait until they're in their 20s and college, learning things for themselves and unlearning and trying to do better for themselves. You could just teach your children off gate, and then they don't have to grow up like you celebrating holidays that are not beneficial to them.
Right, absolutely.
But instead of wanting to change the course and break, generational traditions, like you would rather just be like, well, I like fireworks, and that's how I hang out with my kid. Well, girl, I don't know. Maybe you only get your kid on holidays and that's why you're so upset about it. I don't know. I don't know your life. But the fact that you can only think to have fun with your son by shooting out fireworks when A, you could buy them whenever you wanted. You have money and access. That's not a problem. And for 2, find another way to have fun with your kid, bro. Like if fireworks are the only way you can have fun with your kid, you're just not a good dad. And that's just a dad on that. I don't know how to, like the fact that you tweeted that, I was just like, you're just bored. You're bored. Bless your heart, baby. Go find a book, go put together a puzzle, something. Go find the old paint program on Windows. Do something, some sort of production with your life because you're clearly this bored that you think if you get rid of July 4th, you and your kid will have no other reason to have fun together. Bored ass nigga.
I see that you are upset.
Because it's so annoying. It's so shucking and jivey to me. I hate that shit.
Well, I'm done with my.
What y'all want. Eat your nasty hot dogs and your poisonous food all you fucking want.
But even that, before I was about to say I'm done, I don't have nothing else to say. But even that, like even with you saying like that's when I get to go to the beach, that's when I get to do fireworks, that's when I get to eat my hot dogs. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. Again, it's your body. But I just don't understand why, if those are the things you like to do, you could literally just pick them up from the 4th of July and put them on to June 19th. You realize that, right? Like, same thing when people be like,
right,
like giving gifts on birthdays, like, and how, you're one of those people that really believes in, like, giving people their flowers when they're alive. You never, for as long as I can remember being your friend, you never been like, oh, it's your birthday, I'll wait till then. Like, now you'd be like, hey, girl, thought you would like these bracelets, so I got them for you. Like, it's like, oh, okay, cool. It's.
I was just about to say that, too. Like, the fact that you think canceling Christmas would somehow ruin your kid's life, it's like, if you love your people in your life, you can have big dinners all of the time. You could go on vacations and bring your whole family together all of the time. You can get gifts for each other all of the time. The
Yeah.
fact that you would rather wait until a holiday when a lot of people don't make it to to family holidays every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people die every day. Like, give people their flowers. So the fact that you think you have to have a holiday to celebrate or spend time or create traditions with your kid, you know how weird it would be for me personally to be like, oh yeah, these are the memories I have of my parents and they were only on holidays. Like, the fact that I have memories with my dad of doing things that were never even close to a holiday, it was the same kind of person I am. It's like, hey, I saw these at the store and I thought of you, so I got this for you. Or, hey, like, you want to have dinner? You want to go out to eat together tomorrow? Like, not because it was a holiday or a birthday. It was just like, oh, you want to have, just daddy-daughter time, whatever. Like, you can do that whenever, girl. You don't need a holiday.
Yeah.
Those create better memories and longer lasting impressions when you do stuff for no reason with your family versus holidays.
Absolutely. And again, like I totally get it because that's used to be how I think too. And I feel like a lot of it just has to do with just capitalism. You go to work Monday through Friday. We give you 2 weeks vacation. You get 4th of July off, but the rest of the time you better have your ass here from 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever. I feel like a lot of that stuff is because we have been, put into this monotonous like way of living. Like, everything is planned out. You do the same things. People eat the same things. Like, I don't know, something about the life I thought I was going to inherit as an adult and what I thought I was going to inherit as a child when I became an adult and what I like actually am seeing with my eyes, it just doesn't match up. There's just something very strange to me about having to ask somebody when I can go on vacation, about only being able to go on vacation 2 weeks, about only celebrating this when it's time, when somebody who I've never even met just made up some bullshit. Because at the end of the day, all of it, for the most part, to me is bullshit. I bounce back and forth between half this shit not even being real anyway, and being like, are we even here right now? That type of shit. So I'm like, somebody made up the 4th of July, just like somebody made up Christmas. Like, all this stuff was made up long before we got here, and we just keep on agreeing to that shit. And we don't have to do that. So, like, say it to say, if you don't want to celebrate, I mean, if you don't, if the culture decides to cancel Christmas or the culture decides to cancel 4th of July, just pick that shit up and do it on another day. If you can literally do it on July 5th if you wanted, or July 3rd.
And furthermore, people are like, literally, this guy DM'd me and said, oh, hey, whatever, loser talk. Hey, beautiful, how are you? I'm well. Oh, what are you doing for the 4th? I said, I'm Black. I don't celebrate the 4th. I celebrate Juneteenth, period. And he gonna say, yeah, me either. I just use that day to, the day I have off work to go travel and go to cookout, whatever. I'm like, well, that's celebrating. Stupid. But furthermore, girl, July 4th was on a Saturday. What are you talking about? You use the time off work. Granted, some people have Friday off as the observed holiday or whatever, but it's like, it fell on a Saturday. So this excuse of, oh, I'm not celebrating. I'm just, traveling and cooking out with my family and going to the pool and go to the beach. That's celebrating, stupid. That's literally what everybody else is doing on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
again, we can't be, people can't be self-condemning. So you want to, and then sometimes I definitely have had that feeling where like I wrote checks at my where I was spiritually couldn't cash, if that makes sense. Like, I knew where I wanted to be, but I knew where I was. So he just might be one of them people that's like, I want to be somebody that doesn't celebrate July 4th of July. I'm just not there yet. So instead of just saying that, he's like, oh yeah, no, me neither. It's like, nah, don't try to save face. Or he could be like me and misspeak, kind of like when he meets somebody that don't eat meat, and you be like, oh, me neither, but you have meat in your hand at the time. You're like, oh wait. No, I get that. So I get that. I completely understand that.
Yeah, I was annoyed because I'd be like, this is like, I don't know. It's just stuff people do, I feel like, to me all the time. Like, I don't know. Like, oh, yeah, what are you doing for the 4th? Oh, what are you doing for Christmas? Or you going to church on Easter Sunday? Like, no, that's not my thing. Oh, yeah, me either, yeah. Okay, mm-hmm. Like, you can just say that's what you do. Like, I'm not going to condemn you. I'm just telling you what I don't do. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
No, I feel that.
just don't pretend that you and I think the same way or we're on the same page. And it's not, oh, I think I'm better than you. I'm just in a different place than you. And the fact that you want us to be like, oh yeah, I'm also in that place with you. No, you're not, and that's okay. But you're not. Like, I don't know. Like we said when we started this podcast, we literally said this is a place that is open for learning. We may say and do the wrong thing sometimes on this podcast, on real life, on social media, whatever. And you ask us again about it in a week or two, and we might think and feel completely different. It's like, yes, we're open to people learning and growing and being more fruitful in this life. That's the purpose of us being on this planet, is hopefully, I think, to learn and grow and do as much as you possibly can. So it's like, I'm always going to be willing for people to kind of come full circle and, I don't know, change their minds, change their beliefs. It's just, I can't. I decided that I'm no longer, to a certain extent, meeting people where they're at, because I feel like I've worked to be where I am, and I don't feel like traveling backwards. Like I was saying, you know how like people be like, oh yeah, keep that same energy, or I'm gonna treat you this way if you do this, and it's like, well, yeah, to a certain extent I get that, because I understand reciprocity, and I understand where I am with reciprocity. But I was thinking the other day, I was like, actually, I am actually not vibrating lower to meet you where you at. I'm just gonna, love you from a distance, maybe go way across the room, way across the world, way away from my phone when you call, and I will vibrate at my same exact frequency, but from way over there. Like, I'm gonna have to feed you with a long spoon, because I'm not vibrating lower to match you where you at. I'm not talking about dumb shit because you refuse to read or research or learn anything for yourself. I'm not willing to just talk about the superficial things anymore with people.
I understand that. I understand that. I saw this post that was like, be careful who you respond to, because like their response, I can't remember if it said your response to their response or just their response in general might shift your vibrations and your energy. And I was like, So I feel where you're coming
Yeah.
from. I feel where you're
Yeah.
coming from, my good sis. Alrighty, well, that's all I have to say about the good old Swaggy P. What do you have for what is it? Throw it back? What is it? Throw it back?
Look back at it.
Oh.
Look back at it.
Yeah.
My look back at it is a new what's the word? Development in the Korryn Gaines case.
Oh.
So if you don't remember, Korryn Gaines in 2016 had a standoff with police in her own home. They were trying to come in and serve her a warrant for missing a court date that was response to a traffic violation. She was barricaded inside with her 5-year-old son. She was going on Facebook Live and on Instagram posting what was happening, what she was experiencing. She had a history of recording the police and her police interactions. The police took to Facebook's, they have like a law enforcement policy portal or whatever. So basically the police had Facebook deactivate her account, so people couldn't get her live streams and her videos anymore.
Oh, wow.
And their account, because of course, rest in peace, we cannot ask Korryn Gaines her account of what happened. In her video, she was asking her son, what's going on? What are they trying to do? He's like, the police are trying to come kill us. So the mom was barricaded inside with a shotgun, telling them that they don't have the right to come in her home. And the police, are trying to kick in the door and get to her, whatever. And they end up shooting. They shot into the house, and a bullet ricocheted, hit the 5-year-old in the face. So he had bullet fragments in his face, and then I think he also got shot in the arm. And Korryn Gaines was shot 3 times after they shot her initially, I think. But they shot her, and then they busted in and then shot her 3 more times. Why, I don't know. But they basically said that she was threatening them with a gun, but it's like, well, she was inside her home, and y'all let white people get off all of the time for killing people in their homes because they feared for their safety. So why didn't she have that same luxury and that same civil right? I don't know. So anyway, long story short, they went to court. Her family took them to court and got 36 million. There's discrepancies in the numbers. Some say 35, some say 36, some say 38. But the most recent one says $38 million. Of the $38 million, $32 million is supposed to go to her son, who has had to be in counseling since the incident happened, as he watched his mom die, was, shot by bullets. He was barricaded in this house for 5 hours during the standoff. He said on the stand, the 5-year-old, that when his mom was shot, she had walked into the kitchen to make him a peanut butter jelly sandwich. As in, they were doing the standoff so long, she went to make him lunch, and then that's when the cops seized their opportunity to shoot inside of her home and kill her, and shoot the child. So she was awarded this money in 2018. Then the, county appealed the decision. And so a judge decided that the jury didn't have a right to, charge the officers in that way and sue them. And then the more recent verdict is that the lower courts didn't have the right to overturn the verdict. They were abusing their power in overturning the verdict by the jury. So now they have another hearing that's supposed to be rewriting, I guess, the amount that she will actually receive, or her family will receive. I don't know if it'll be more, if it'll be less. I don't know if they're going to try to appeal it again. I don't know how many more times they can, unless it goes to like the Supreme Court. I'm not completely well versed in the court things, but so far she is supposed to be re-awarded her family $38 million for her murder. So that is for Korryn Gaines. That just came out this week that her family is supposed to be awarded that money.
I feel like if they got that much, then they were wrong as shit.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, for a jury to decide, yes, she deserves that money when it was a black woman with a gun, yes, we know it as this is a black woman who is exercising her constitutional right to have a gun, to protect her home, to be inside of her home with her weapon that she owns.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to think like, wow, at least, you know, all the people of the jury also decided that she had that right, where it's very easy for them to be like, oh, no, black woman with a gun, you know, blacks aren't allowed to have guns, you know. But I mean, thankfully they did say it was the right thing for her to be able to protect herself, and the cop shot first. She didn't shoot. I mean, I don't know if she shot it off. One of the cops said that she did, but again, we only have their account. We don't have her account of what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have to take so many things with a grain of salt, because it's like the cops were saying like they went to serve the warrant and she greeted them with a gun, like pointing at their head. So I'm like, I don't know how much I believe that. If somebody was coming to serve me a warrant and I just pointed a gun at them, I don't know about all that. And with them having her videos, like her lives and stuff, taken down from Facebook, is like, I don't know. All of it is very fishy to me. I can't trust you hoes. So.
And I feel like that's like, again, I've never served on a jury, but I feel like if that evidence was presented by wait, what? She won it was a civil case?
Yeah.
So I guess the prosecution, there would be, yeah. So, yeah. If that was presented on the prosecution side, I feel like that would, like, you know, lend to me being like, something ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And I'm glad to hear that. I mean, again, money does not, you know, it doesn't solve everything. It doesn't bring your loved one back, if for sure. Because I'm assuming her 5-year-old son survived, right?
Yeah, he survived, and he's been in counseling. Like I think the boy's grandfather says that he has like night terrors. He's having behavioral issues now in school. He's just very traumatized by the situation. You know, he has scars from the bullets and the fragments. I don't know. It's just so traumatizing to think of. At 5 years old, this is what you're witnessing.
Yeah.
And this is what you have to live with. You had to watch your mom be murdered by police.
Yeah.
They're literally arguing about whether or not you deserve the money, for one, to have a fruitful life after all this has happened to you and your mom and your life. But also, who the fuck is going to take care of the counseling for this kid for the rest of his life?
And that's what I was about to say. I really hope, because again, I just know how bad people in general can be with money and how greedy they can be. I just hope that most of this goes to like making sure the son can live a fruitful life, whether that be him being able to.
Well, yeah, I was happy to hear that the 32 of the 38 million that they're supposed to be awarded would be going to the son.
That's great.
I don't know who the trustee of that, you know, account would be, if it would be a family member, if it would be, you know, a non-biased attorney or whatever, because the kid, I think, has a separate attorney from the mom's estate.
That's great.
It's a totally separate one. I'm not 100% sure, because it just says attorney of, and the son's name, Cody. So I don't know if he was for both of them. But regardless, I hope that there is no, you know, arguing and pulling over the money, especially if the rest of the family is getting the, I don't know, $6 million.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. I would hope that everybody closest to her would also be able to live a better life, because again,
she also had a 1-year-old daughter that was also in the apartment, but the boyfriend that was there at the time as well, he took the baby and left. I think after the cops first came, because they tried to detain him with the baby.
I just would hope that everybody could live a good life after this, because as the coronavirus has taught us, the money is there for people to live better lives and more productive lives and things like that. So say that to say, I would hope that everybody, you know, close to her would be able to live a good life, including her son too. That was all I was worried about. I like to think about was, I remember hearing that Bow Wow's mom stole all his money or something like that. Something crazy. So yeah, as soon as you got done talking about like the money, I was like, I hope that they don't take all that money and his son ends up, you know, no better off than you know, this had never happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
I would just like to hope that it's like, you know, a separate, maybe as an attorney or something would be in charge of it and not a family member, just because people do get really greedy and crazy over money.
Yeah, and
I'm
kinfolk
Go
and
ahead.
always your blood relatives do not always have your back. So,
That's a fact.
but I really hope that his do, of course, also. So, yeah, that's all I want to say. Go ahead, girl.
That last look back at it, I'm gonna save it again just so we can keep this episode about our big announcement of our giveaway, and we'll talk about that other thing next
Alrighty,
episode.
alrighty. So, black on black. I mean, damn it, blank while black.
Blank while black. Sydney, go get this show one of these days.
Absolutely. You want to go first?
Sure. Blank while black. This week's shout out is gonna go to a Michigan couple. This is Eric and Jillian Wurstenberg. Okay. Now, you may not know these names. Yeah, Wurstenberg.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know how to say that, but you might have seen this lady in her very tight ponytail pointing guns at a black family outside of a Chipotle maybe this week. Maybe it's been about a week since I've seen the video. What the story goes, that a family of a mom, a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 5-year-old are walking into Chipotle. I guess the mom was further ahead of the group, and turns around to hear her 15-year-old daughter being yelled at and yelling back at a 32-year-old white woman. So when she turns around and starts heading back to see what's going on with her daughter, she's hearing the white woman yell at her and doesn't know what's going on. So the story goes that as they were walking into the Chipotle, the white woman bumps into the 15-year-old as she's trying to walk into Chipotle and doesn't say excuse me and doesn't acknowledge the presence of this young black girl. And I don't know if you have any personal experience of it yourself, but I know in general, white people do like to, or some white people, I'll say, do like to pretend like black people don't exist. They don't owe us apologies when they step in front of us, when they cross over in front of us, when they bump into us, when they don't hold a door for us or what have you. They just like to very much so pretend we don't exist or that we don't matter. We kind of talked about that last week when we were talking about the Karen in the 7-Eleven who got her ass beat for, I guess, not saying excuse me to the black woman. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the 15-year-old is arguing with this lady, and then the mom comes, and they're all arguing, what's going on? Why didn't you just apologize? You bump into somebody, you say, excuse me, whatever. The woman's, yelling at them and gets back in her car. And then she's so she's in the car with her husband, so she's in the passenger seat. The husband goes to back up, and you hear thumping, the video, you can hear a thumping on the back window of the car. So I guess the girl was standing behind the car when they started to back up, and I guess they were just going to proceed to run her over. So she knocked on the window, and then the woman jumps out of the car with a gun aimed at the mom, aimed at the family, saying, you guys need to back the fuck up. You need to get the fuck out of my way. Da-da-da. Don't touch my car. The husband also has a weapon. And then they are forced, they get back in their car and they go to drive away after the mom is recording and she gets a video of the license plate. And then the mom, I think she called her husband, who was a police officer. Mm-hmm. So he called the cops and said he was on his way to basically go help his family and that somebody just pulled a gun on his family. So since then, Jillian and Eric have both been arrested and charged with felonious assault. Mm. Felonious assault in the state of Michigan can carry an up to a 4-year prison sentence and a $2,000 fine each. They were arraigned and they were later set out on bond of $50,000. So yeah, my this week in Blank While Black, it is don't try to exist and get ran into by a white person, and don't expect them to apologize. Because in Blank While Black, that may mean having a gun put into your face. Literally, in the video, you can see down the barrel of the gun. It's not like the woman was just holding it out, which is scary enough to be like, girl, you almost ran me over with your car, and now you're pointing a gun at me? What is wrong with you? But yeah, so that is my Blank While Black. Don't exist around white people because they might decide you don't exist and don't owe you an apology for running into you.
Ooh, Chile.
I wanted to give you an update on that, actually. That
okay.
Eric is a disabled veteran who worked at the University of Oakland University. And they have already sent a response that said, we saw the video. The behavior was unacceptable. The employee has been notified that his employment has been terminated. He also worked with Democratic U.S. Representative Elissa Slotkin, who said that he participated in one of her voluntary advisory boards on veterans issues. And she saw the video and said, it is beyond the pale of acceptable behavior, and she has removed him from the advisory board on Thursday. So basically, white people, I don't know why when you decide to be racist and wave your guns in people's faces that you think there'll be no repercussions, especially when you're being recorded. You know you're going to lose your job, girl, and now you got a $50,000 bond to pay with no job.
Sheesh. Well.
But the fact that he was a disabled veteran and working for veterans issues and thought it was okay to just pull guns on random people is beyond me. When they got arrested, and I think still now, even that they're out on bond, they had their guns confiscated, so they don't even have them now.
Yeah, well, you know, Black people are at the bottom of people's list of care, concern, worry, fear of repercussions. Because again, you know, I just have to remember that we're operating in a society that has allowed white people to have impunity when it comes to how they treat Black people. So I'm not surprised at all that you can literally be out here, working with Democrats and out here fighting for veterans, you know, rights and you just all those things and still treat Black people like that. You know what I'm saying?
And it's such a horrific video. Like, her finger is on the trigger. Girl, you were in a parking lot in front of a Chipotle, and you out here waving guns in people's faces because you almost ran them over with your car and they tapped on your window? Yeah. What the hell? Like, I'm not surprised. How are you so easily, I mean, for lack of better words, how are you so easily triggered?
At this point,
these are the things that gets people literally murdered for nothing. Like, these could have been de-escalated so quickly. You could have said, oh, I'm so sorry. My head was in the clouds or my head was up my ass. I apologize for running into you. Because the fact that you think this 15-year-old Black woman or this Black girl doesn't exist and you don't owe her shit is wild. I would never bump into someone and be like, oh, well, they're a kid, so I don't care. I'm not going to apologize. Girl, I bump into inanimate objects and I apologize. If I stump my toe on the refrigerator, I'm like, oh, shit, sorry, girl. To a refrigerator. And you can't even give another human being that decency? Girl.
I honestly am more surprised by, and again, it's just a reflection of y'all people. Get y'all people together. I'm more surprised by white decency than I am indecency at this point. And actually, you know, going into my blank while Black, I'm also surprised by any other people of color's decency more than indecency because Black people don't even want to be Black. So I don't even, you know, expect anybody else to care about Black folks.
What's your blank while Black said?
So my blank while Black, I would like to file it under the category of don't trust your non-Black cast members, and also under the category of bad apologies. Which, you know, I think those are ongoing categories for blank while Black. But mine is a shout out to D Win. So I don't know if our followers watch MTV's The Challenge, but if you don't, just let you get a little backstory on what that show is. It's like if you mix reality TV with Fear Factor, but take away the bugs. So like just the crazy action, like that the third challenge that always comes up on Fear Factor. They do that kind of stuff on the show, and then they stay for 2 months together, so they record them like in the bunker or wherever they're staying. So that's what the show is. So D Win was one of the cast members on that show, and I looked it up because I don't like to ethnicize people, if that makes sense.
Fair. This is a word,
yeah. I'm making it up as I go. But so what I saw was that she was born in Sydney, Australia, but to me she looked like she was like of Asian descent, if that makes sense. So what I found online said that she's Vietnamese. I'll say that to say this is not a white person I'm going to be talking about. But she tweeted, I don't know why some of you think I'm anti-Black Lives Matter. I've been saying that since the day I lost my virginity. To which I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Like, it makes me think that she was like she's alluding to getting raped by a Black person or something. I don't know.
No, I think it sounds to me like she's saying she lost her virginity to a Black guy. That's why she thinks Black Lives Matter, which is even further tacky.
Oh yeah. Either way. Yeah, it's just shitty. But she also commented on an Instagram post about George Floyd, and she said people die every fucking day, and that was reported by U.S. Weekly. So sad to say, I also would like to file this under the category of y'all only having to keep y'all heads low and saying nothing to keep y'all jobs, but y'all refusing to do that. Because she didn't have to tweet, she didn't have to comment, she didn't have to say anything, and she would still have her job. So sad to say, MTV has cut all ties with her. She's on So the show is called The Challenge, but it has different seasons. Like there's War of the Worlds. This season is called Total Madness, and she's still on the show. It's been recorded, of course, as most TV shows are. And the way that you lose your spot on the show is that you lose a head-to-head like battle on the show. So she's still on it, but they have cut all of her confessional scenes. Like you wouldn't know she was there if she just didn't walk past the camera, like type of thing. And I know she's like would be talking because she's been talking the rest of the season. But ever since this came out, like when the show comes on, like it's got like a black screen with white typing, and it's MTV is like we do not fuck with her. But the show has been pre-recorded, and we decided to like air the rest of the show because there are other people on the show, which makes sense. And so I just was like, wow, girl, you just didn't have to say nothing. And so anyway, also I wanted, like I was telling you the other day when we talked about this, I looked it up and she's been on the show since 2019. And again, for anybody that doesn't know, every season that you compete on, you have the possibility of winning either $1 million, or if you have to split the prize money with like a partner, you can win up to 500,000. And she's won a season before, if I'm not mistaken. So said to say, all she had to do was say nothing at all, and she could still have an opportunity to win $1 million every season. And I'm pretty sure, because this is like season 30 something, so I'm pretty sure that they do more than one a year. So she's lost that opportunity. But what I also wanted to say was, so this is her third season on the show. And now but so to get on this show too, you have to be on a previous MTV show. So she was on Geordie Shore, and that's how she got on the challenge. She was like, I guess, offered opportunity. I'm not sure how all that works because I've never been on there. But the last thing I wanted to say is that she issued an apology, as all people do, and she said, the last 24 hours have made me realize what is important, and that is forgiveness. I would like to offer my sincerest apologies to my colleagues to whom I have hurt directly and indirectly due to my insensitive remarks. So I'm going to stop you there. Of course, not all Black people agree, right? You got those Black people that be like, oh, they shouldn't have resisted arrest. Oh, they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done that. But if I were to make a general guess about a group of people that I'm not in, and if I were even just judge the climate that we're currently living in, we have seen person after person after person lose their job for insensitive comments about Black Lives Matter. I have seen the man that owns CrossFit lose affiliates because he said some insensitive shit about Black Lives Matter in a tweet. So all she had to do was look at that shit and just say, I'm not going to say nothing. Clearly, even if you don't care about Black lives, if you just want to keep your job.
Read the fucking room.
Yeah, you could have just been quiet. So for her to say, oh, I'm sorry for the people that I've hurt directly or indirectly, before I made that comment, before I would have said some anti-Black Lives Matters bullshit, knowing I'm not a Black person, I would have thought to myself, I would assume that it would hurt them before assuming that it wouldn't. So that part of her apology was bullshit to me. And then she went on to say, I believe in this movement, and I'm stepping away from social media to focus on my well-being and mental health. And this is not goodbye. It is, I'll see you soon. But sorry, I skipped the line. She said, let me be clear. I'm a person of color that cares about Black Lives Matter. And again, so I don't know how long between her tweet and when she said this, but I feel like it was within like a 1 week period, because like the way the article was written, it was like she said on Tuesday, as in like she said like the following days or something like that. But I'm gonna go back again to the original tweet. I don't know why some of you think I'm anti-Black Lives Matter. I've been saying that since the day I lost my virginity. Okay, now let's fast forward again, y'all, to the apology. I am a person of color that cares about Black Lives Matter. Girl, no, you do not. And again, not that it's okay, but it's okay to tell the truth about it. You don't. You already said it. And so to have had a change of heart in a 3-day, 4-day period, like, now again, it is absolutely possible that she could have watched hella documentaries. She could have picked up a Black book, ordered off Amazon, got it in 2 days, and started reading it. By all means. But say that to say, for me, and I do not speak for all Black people, but this is a public service announcement for myself. If you say or do some racist shit, you can apologize, but don't try to like backpedal and say, oh, I care about this, when you literally the day before just said you didn't, until there's been enough time for you to have done some research. Because that just makes it hard for me to believe anybody's apologies. Like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. No, you did. You said what you said. You don't give a fuck. And then you said people die every day in response to people talking about George Floyd. So you clearly do not understand what Black people are going through. And that's why, like, it's so unfortunate, because I'll see people online say, don't be grouping us with people of color because other people of color don't give a fuck about Black people. Y'all need to focus on Black people. And that's so unfortunate because I do know there are Asian people who fuck with black people. I know there are white people who fuck with black people. I know that there are just quote unquote decent human beings that care about other people who don't look like them and actually want to do the research or have already done it. But it also is like the opposite of that. There are people like D who just do not give a fuck. Who is a person of color? And it's like, girl, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, okay, I get it. Because Asian people are representative of that model minority. People always associate them with being smart. They associate them being hard workers. They in general make more money than black people do. I saw an article that either said that Asian women make more than white women. I can't remember exactly what it was, but so say that to say there are some populations within the Asian group that are faring better than white people. But say that to say is if they got rid of black people, girl, you still wouldn't be white. So it is in your best interest to align yourself to me with other people of color instead of thinking that you will ever be anything other than what you are. Because white, to me, those quote unquote racist white people, those white people with power who are racist, do not give a fuck about nobody that is not rich and not white. So without us, and then you get rid of Hispanic people, because I know Hispanic people also think they're better than black people. But baby girl, you need us because we're the only reason why y'all have any comfort whatsoever. Because they will put y'all at the bottom too if we weren't here. So I said to say to be like, oh, I'm sorry about my cast members that I disappoint. I'm just like, girl, you have black cast members. What do y'all do in that 2 month period when you have the opportunity to learn about people who don't look like yourself? And I get it, it's a show, they got other shit they could be doing. But I'm just like, wow, y'all really on a show together. Y'all be stuck together for 2 months without cell phones, and you still get to walk away from the show being racist like that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to D. You have lost your job, girl, and that is unfortunate. I didn't like her on the show anyway. I thought she was a snake on the actual show.
Well, obviously she is.
So say to say good riddance. I actually now I gotta find out who else I'm gonna hate because she's like my favorite person to hate on the show. So, but I will be okay. I will move on. Good luck to you, girl, finding a job because I also know that the internet will haunt you forever. So if people find out that you got a job, they'll probably tell your for your employer what you've done, and you might lose that one. So yikes! I mean, it sucks to suck. You could have just said nothing at all, girl. You could have kept your head low and still had a job. And that's that on that.
Yeah, hate to see it, and also I love this song.
So yeah, that's that on that for my black blank ball black. Yeah, there we go. Damn. Okay. All right.
Don't exist next to quote unquote people of color and think that they're your ally.
Yeah, unless you know, because someday we'll show you. Might take a while, but their true colors will show. So yeah. All right. Sounds about why.
Sounds about white.
I do not have one, so go for it.
Okay, this week in Sounds About White, I have one. And my one is going to the officers who decided that they would take mockery pictures at the memorial site of Elijah McClain.
Oh, wonderful.
So last August, a young man named Elijah McClain was murdered by the police after he was put in I don't want to say it wrong, a carotid control chokehold and died 3 days later at the hospital, to which the prosecution decided there was not enough evidence to prove that the cops had anything to do with him dying. It was his underlying health issues, blah, blah, blah. We know that bullshit, although he wouldn't have been in the hospital but we already know that. So police officers Erica Marrero, Kyle Dittrich, and Jason Rosenblatt were all fired on Friday. A fourth officer, Jaron Jones, resigned on Tuesday before he could be fired. So what they did was they went to the memorial site and took pictures smiling in front of the site, and then one of the officers put the other officer in one of the chokeholds, and they sent it to the officers. There was 3 officers involved in the death of Elijah McClain, and they sent that picture to the officers that were involved to what they say is cheer them up. Because the officers involved were put on administrative duty until the prosecutor decided he wasn't going to charge them. And then they were reinstated back, I guess, in the field, quote unquote, after they were told they weren't going to be charged. So I guess these officers thought it would cheer them up to see where they basically started the murder of this young man. The officer, Jaron Jones, that resigned was one of the people that was sent the picture. No, Jason Rosenblatt. He was one of the people who was there initially for the call on Elijah McClain, and he responded when he got the picture, ha ha.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's why he was fired. And then the chief of police had like a called a public announcement that was basically like, I just want y'all to know this is unacceptable. They are not fit to wear these badges. They are an embarrassment to people who do their jobs, who take it seriously. Their phones were confiscated, I guess, to see the text messages, etc. One of the officers that was sent the picture, who was involved in the arrest of Elijah McClain, deleted the text and didn't respond to it, I guess because he actually knew better. Whereas the other one texted back, ha ha. And she said basically it was bad taste. It was just gut wrenching. She knew that since the pictures were going to get out, she said that it was the right thing for the family to have seen them first and not, I guess, more of the public. It was the right thing for her to be able to see it. So the parents of this 23-year-old young man who was murdered had to see the officers, who were never charged, making a mockery in front of his memorial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was typing it out so we didn't forget what I wanted to say, but it's just y'all just do not care about Black life. It's period, because at the end of the day,
How would this be funny? How would this be funny?
Yeah, whether you think, oh, that the officers did what was necessary, they did what they were trained to do. Okay, cool. Let's argue that is really what you thought. This person is dead. This is somebody's child, somebody's friend, it's somebody's cousin. Somebody loved this person. And so for you to go and take that kind of picture, because I looked it up to see what you were talking about, in front of a memorial, you just do not care about Black life, and there's no other ways, ifs, ands, or buts around. There's no other way to look at it, because I would never go to a memorial about anybody and be like smiling, and then to put the chokehold part in there just adds insult to injury. So yeah, and
ha ha, cheer him up. What?
Yeah.
What? He has his life. Cheer what up? These parents have to mourn the loss of their child who was murdered by y'all. And I don't know if any of you saw the video. I know I make sure that I don't watch videos like that anymore because it is very triggering to me. It's very hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
But if you saw the videos of him, just like his personality in general, Elijah McClain, he just seems like such a sweet, timid kid. He literally was like go on his breaks from his job next door to a pet store and play piano for the kittens. Like, Jesus Christ, you couldn't have gotten more innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like he committed no crime. There was no report of a crime. Somebody said he looked suspicious because he basically had like a bandana around his mouth when he was in a store. But he made the purchase and left. He didn't threaten anyone. He didn't break anything. He didn't steal anything. And it costed him his life because his black skin is what was underneath that mask. Yeah. And then you have the nerve, the caucasity to go make a picture that you think is funny in front of his memorial. And the fact, this is the sad part, they never even got charged. And the chief was still like, oh, you think this is funny? Like, you got fired for the picture and you didn't even get fired for the murder.
Right. And then there's that. And see, the other thing for me too is, and not to say you're trying to do this, but I don't need the whole, oh, he used to go play piano for the cats. That doesn't matter, because white people don't have to be that quote unquote pure, good, whatever to deserve their life. So personally, I no longer feed into the whole, oh, he was this, he was that. I don't really give a damn. Like, I don't care.
I don't believe, you could have been a criminal. You could have robbed the whole store. You could have pointed a gun at everyone in the room. Doesn't mean you should have been murdered.
Yeah, and so for me, and I mean, of course, it just adds to it, but yeah, it's just, again, I don't know. What do you do? I gotta get on the next boat steaming. I got to go. Because again, even that too, oh, they lost their job. Like, how do you lose your job over a picture and not over killing somebody?
And not over the actual murder. Or lost your job over the ha-ha text and not the actual murder. Like, what a slap in the face of these families.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So sickening. I would like to get off this rock.
So literally the police union was trying to say that the chief didn't have a right to fire them and did not follow the steps of the officer's due process rights. Because she basically, when she found out about the picture, she basically was like, You have 3 days to return to me any information that you have as far as, I guess, your defense or your rebuttal or whatever, but you're going to be fired. And none of them even responded with anything. They were like, yeah, we did what we did. Oh, well. And so now the union is, I guess, trying to help them get their jobs back because they're saying that she didn't give them all the rights of process. And she's like, is this a joke? Like, and I don't know. I tried to find out, but I didn't. If she was the police chief when this happened last year, I can't find that information. But she to me seems like genuinely hurt and disgusted by what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I hope she is, but I hope also that not only is this a wake up call to any other officer who thinks that shit is funny, who thinks that shit is acceptable, but it's like, clearly she's not going to stand for it. Like, as soon as she found out about it, she decided, okay, they got to go. And the thing is, this picture was sent out in March. They just got fired a couple days ago. This picture was sent around in March, and another officer had gotten the photo. Like, I guess they were sending it around the whole department. And they said that they debated for months about whether or not they were going to turn it over to the police chief or turn it over to somebody else higher up, because they, I guess, decided, since everybody in the department had seen the pictures, that, you know, somebody was going to do something or say something. And they said, basically, they talked to their wife about it, and their wife was like, no, go fucking tell on them now. And that's what made them tell. But I was like, for months you knew this picture was going around, and you were okay working side by side with these people? Yeah. Before you decided to tell on them?
But yeah, to me, again, just, being open-minded and seeing other people's perspectives and points of views. Again, to me, that's just the same thing I feel about R. Kelly. Like, we all knew he peed on that girl, and we all knew he was married to Aaliyah at 15. And for some reason, that nigga was still walking around living his best life up until, last year, year before last? So I think when a whole bunch of people agree to something, it feels more right. And so I guess that's what it is. Like, oh, I'm sure somebody else did it. I'm sure somebody else will say something. Or maybe even, oh, if nobody else said anything, then maybe I'm just overreacting. And so, like I was telling you, I was reading this social psychology book. And so I'm trying to get down to the bottom of what makes us do the things that we do, so that way we can try to, I don't know, create more ethical, moral human beings. Because, again, of course, we always want to believe, oh, I would have said something immediately. But if that were the case, then why aren't more people saying something immediately? You know what I'm saying? So. Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, again, my next question is, and I'm talking about this person, but I mean in general, would you have deliberated that long if the person hadn't have been black? Is my next question. Like, if there had been a white girl's memorial that was killed by police, not that we see that very often, but let's just say that, that was the case. I just would wonder if it would have took you so long to be like, should I say something? Or would you have been more outraged?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like Chief Wilson said, I shouldn't have to teach human decency. Like, there's just, so the officers that took the picture were also kind of involved in the Elijah McClain case, because they were the ones who gave the ride to the officers after I guess the incident to they got to like do the paperwork and do the reporting of what happened. They, I guess, drove those officers to the office that they had to go take the complaint down or whatever. So it's kind of like, I guess they were all just friends and buddies or whatever. And it's like, I can't even imagine. There's no memorial that I want to go cheese in front of and make a mockery of. There's none.
Yeah. Like I said, it's got to be the blackness. My other question too is that I just want to know what good police unions do, because I only hear about them when they're out here trying to protect somebody that murdered somebody black. I feel like it's always, the police union stepped in and yada, yada, yada. And I feel like in the Time documentary, they were talking about how police unions are like gigantic gangs, and they just protect and insulate like the worst parts of the police departments and stuff. And again, I don't see anything wrong with trying to protect people. Again, I've not done a lot of research into unions and their effectiveness and whatnot. But let's say, they're here to protect people. But I think there's nothing wrong with saying, but this we don't stand by. So you got to go. Like, that's why we have so many cops that be out here with all these complaints against them when they haven't been fired yet, because the unions probably be stepping in the way.
Well, not and that, and it's like, you just think about the power of the prosecutors and how they work so closely with police departments, and they don't have to answer to anyone. You can murder someone today, and the prosecutor, I mean, obviously, because the cops do it all the time, but the prosecutor can say, oh yeah, I'm not going to bring charges against you. And literally, there's no one that can say, well, why not? Because they don't answer to anyone. They make the calls of who they are or aren't going to charge. And because they are, in most states, elected, they don't have to answer to anyone. The only time they they kind of act swiftly as if it's something big and public, and they want to keep their position as far as, they want to be reelected or whatever. So they have to respond to certain things based on the strength of the media coverage of certain events. And it's like, well, if the police, if we didn't do, protests and stuff for the people and the names that we do know, we would never see justice in those things because they could just sweep it right under the rug. They want to work with police officers so that when they need witnesses at trial or quote unquote experts or whatever, they know they can just call the police department. So who are they going to call if they're out here arresting members of the police department and then nobody else in the quote unquote police department trusts them? Then they were like, well, I'm not going to step on those toes. So I'll just be out here not giving justice where it's due. And the problem is that, for one, there's not a lot of black prosecutors, but even the ones that are, you can't necessarily say because they're black, they're going to have your back. I mean, if we just look at Breonna Taylor's case, the prosecutor in that case is black, and he was out celebrating his engagement with his white girlfriend instead of bringing the charges to the officers who killed her.
Yeah, I know. That's why earlier I said black people don't even want to be black. So.
That's what I'm saying. Ugh.
It's unfortunate. And again, most of the time, not even their fault, directly, because they've been taught that. They've been taught to hate themselves and to hate themselves and other people as we see ourselves reflected in other people. So yeah, say that to say, I suggest everybody read Audre Lorde's Sister Outsider. She has an essay in there about how black women are so angry and mean towards other black women because we are reflecting each other's faces and whatnot. So we've been taught to hate ourselves. So yeah, shout out to Audre Lorde. I would suggest everybody read that. I wish I knew the name of the essay, but the book is across the room. So I'll try to get up later and get it. Anyway.
I also wanted to clarify a statement I made on our last episode, just in the hype and the energy of the episode. I misquoted a number that I wanted to clarify before we move on. So on average, police kill about 1,000 citizens every year. Mm-hmm. And of that 1,000 or so, about 200 to 300 are black. I think last week I said that they kill about 1,000 black citizens, and I wanted to clarify that's 1,000 citizens, and not 1,000 black ones, at least that we know of, because again, not all of them are. So like I had looked at a statistic earlier that was basically like, okay, about 300 or 400 of them are white, about 200 to 300 of them are black, this many Hispanic, this many Asian, and then it had like unknown, and had like 150 unknown. Like, as far as unknown ethnicity. I was like, well, shit, that could be anybody for all we know. They could kill my mixed ass and be like, oh, she's unknown, and leave it out of the black statistics. But also, for a long time, police officers didn't keep the statistics of, who their cops were killing. So independent studies and journals and reviews started tracking it. And now a lot of them will start or have started checking or keeping the stats for themselves, I guess, to cover their own ass, to be like, oh, you can't be mad at us for killing black people. We kill white people too sometimes. Not more than we kill y'all, because I mean, if you look at the numbers and you look at obviously over policing in our demographics, we're still 3 times as likely to be murdered by police than white people are, even if they kill more white people per year. But I kind of wanted to bring that up as far as even the argument of Blue Lives Matter. I'm like, y'all kill 1,000 citizens a year. And in the line of duty where you guys use weapons, I don't want to say only, because lives are lives, but it's like about 200 people who are quote unquote blue lives are killed a year. Mm-hmm. And we're supposed to be moved somehow that you guys are so much more important than black people. When when one thing is a job and one thing is my skin that I can't take off, I can't clock out of. But anyway, I just want to make that clarity, because I thought about it as soon as we finished the podcast, and I was like, I can tell Sydney to edit it, and I was like, no, we'll leave it in there and I'll just address it later. So I wanted to bring that back up. Again, we are learning just like everybody else. We're learning and getting better and educating ourselves, and I will not pretend that everything I say has been perfect and highly researched. I'm living and growing in this life like everybody else, and I'm hopefully going to keep reading the things that help me do better and better.
Absolutely. And the name of that essay is Eye to Eye, Black Women, Hatred, and Anger by Audre Lorde. Y'all want to check that out.
I also want to tell y'all that, again, Policing the Black Man, edited and with an introduction by Angela J. Davis, is a must-read. honestly, we should be reading it in school. We should be reading it in grade school and in college and just in life in general. So obviously, since those aren't a part of your curriculum, please go pick it up today. There are lots of Black-owned bookstores. Actually, I should have pulled up my list of those, but Uncle Bobby's is one, Mahogany Books is one, Malik Books is one, Key Bookstore. Lots of online Black-owned bookstores. So try to refrain from buying it for somewhere like Amazon or Barnes and Nobles when you could buy Black books from Black bookstores. And that is the end of that. So let's move on. Sexpectation? Am I messing up the order today?
Nope. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't be able to correct it if not. So I'm pretty sure that's right, though.
Oh, yeah. Sexpectations is next, y'all. So, Sydney, what sexpectations question do you have for me?
I couldn't come up with one. I wanted to talk about August Alsina, but Aisha said that we should wait until we see what Jada's Red Table Talk is about. So I couldn't come up with anything else other than that.
Let's hear both of the sides. Okay. I guess my question is, how long can you date someone without them revealing that they have kids?
I remember watching Think Like a Man, and Steve Harvey was saying y'all shouldn't wait too long before introducing your children to the person that you're trying to date or dating, because what if they don't click, they don't mesh, and now you just waste, let's say you waited a year, now you wasted a year. But I also realize that you're saying not meet, but just know. It's so hard because on one side of things, I'd be like, I'm finna be on my Tracy Ellis Ross shit and like be single. And Tracy Ellis Ross is like living her best life.
It's her best life.
So full of joy and happiness. I saw this like a screenshot of a tweet that was like, why do all of these women who are this age look this good, but they all, and what they have in common is that they all don't have husbands. And the person was like, is that the secret? And I was like, girl, what if it is the fountain of youth? They don't have no man stressing them out. That's why they look so good. She like Tracy Ellis Ross. And it was, I can't remember who else she named, but it was just a whole bunch of Black women who are beautiful and living their best lives that don't have husbands. But say that to say, the other thing.
That's the tea. You better watch out for that agenda.
What?
That not black families not reproducing agenda.
I was talking to Kalia, and I was like, honestly, part of me be like, maybe I should get married later, so that way, like, say, if I don't want kids, because I really don't know whether I do or don't. I personally am not excited to put your baby out of my body. I heard that childbirth is very painful, and I don't really like pain. I also
looks like a bad time.
Yeah, I've also heard that your body's never the same. I just keep hearing a whole bunch of things, and I'd be like, I don't think I want a child that bad to go through these. But say that to say, I was like, you know what? It might be perfect to date a man or to get married later in life, so he's already had his kids and they're grown. I don't have to raise any. But say
and grown enough to not be on that teenage shit of I ain't even gonna say, because I did some pretty fucked up shit as a quote unquote stepchild. But yeah, once you don't gotta have the headache with, so you should definitely date somebody with grown kids. Obviously, when you're a little older, because that would mean that they were your age.
Absolutely. So, personally, I feel like that's something I like to be revealed on the first day because, like I said, I don't want kids, so.
I'm going to think that you're a shady-ass parent if you don't tell me that you have kids. I don't need to meet the little motherfuckers, but I need to know they exist.
Yeah. I feel like when you're not really open and honest about that, you're not giving people, you're not allowing people to make decisions from a place of being educated and knowledgeable about who you are.
And here's the thing. If you're a woman, it's like guaranteed to come up. Oh, yeah, my son, my daughter, my this, my that. Here's my lock screen. If you're a man, to me, I'm going to be like, oh, then you're a bad dad. Like, how did you just go like 8 hours and not talk about your kids? That's to me, that is strange. And I remember when we were in college, I feel like you were with me when this happened, but we were at some like forum put on by the Qs. And a Q in the room, they were talking about dating and kids and all that. A Q in the room was basically like, well, everybody ain't worthy to meet my kid. And all the girls were like, girl, nobody said we wanted to meet your kid. We're saying that you should tell people you have a kid. Well, why would I tell them if I don't know I'm going to be serious with them? Because it's your kid. Why are you so embarrassed of your kid? And like his argument fully sounded like, I'm embarrassed to have a kid. He also was kind of like, well, what if that makes them not want to date me or something like that? And I'm like, if you would want to date someone who wouldn't want to date you if you had a kid, then that's your first problem right there. Why would you want to date someone and you have a kid who doesn't want to be around kids, like, what, you just gonna hide him until like his 5th birthday and be like, oh, by the way, I can't meet with you this weekend because I have to go to my son's birthday, for her to be like, what, huh? Like,
Right, and the thing again, it just stereotypically speaking, because women are so much more involved in their children's life. So assuming, like for instance, so I'm assuming again, based off what you're telling me, that this man is not with the mother of his child, and
yeah,
and again, what that sounds like to me is that the child is with the mother full time, and so with you part time or whatever that might
because
be.
he was a full-time college student and in an
hmm
organization.
And so say that to say, it just sounds like you're not that present in your child's life. So I don't know. It's just even that kind of stuff. I don't know. And that's another reason why I be so like anti having children without being in committed relationships, because or having children in general, having them early, because to me it just always seems like unless you on your Will and Jada type of thing, it just seems like you are not the parents are not as present in the children's lives as they should be. One or the other, if that makes sense. Like having a child with somebody and y'all don't end up staying together in a relationship means that somebody is not as present in that child's life. And I feel like I don't know, I feel like people make a lot of arguments for black absentee parents like Candace Owens. Black absentee fathers and whatnot. And I'm just like, I feel like in general, and I don't know if just talking about black people, but I just think in general, you just don't need to be having kids early, because if y'all not together, it just don't seem to work out well unless you're mature enough to be like very very present parents in your children's lives. I don't know. I just feel like there's just a lot of, but I'm also not on the train of you need 2 parents in order to be a successful person anyway. I'm not gonna go into details about that because I'm not gonna have people cancel me because I basically said women can raise kids by themselves. I just no longer.
They do it all the time.
That's something we can talk about on sex expectations now. So I got a question.
Okay.
And hopefully we can answer this in a timely manner. But I just
Oh,
everybody was upset with Condola because she wanted to keep her child. I thought was very strange. But and she was on her I'm gonna have this baby regardless, which to me gave me I just wanted a child. I don't necessarily want you. And so and I was having a conversation with somebody on IG, and she was like, but when did we start giving men choices? And I was like, I see what you're getting at here, but I just personally feel like when people be like, a woman can't raise a man, I'd be like, no, I don't believe that to be true. Maybe if we have more women who love women raising men, we'd have more men who treat women right instead of what we're getting right now. And so, and even when I think about like Tupac was raised by a single mother, and he absolutely said that he thought he would be better if he had his father. But I was like, but how much of that is thinking that the grass is greener on the other side as opposed to the actual upbringing that you had? Because I don't know whether, because of course I know that Tupac had a bad upbringing because of his mother's addiction, not because his father was missing. In my opinion, I was out there, and I'm just making I'm just telling you what I felt from a result of watching it. I cannot tell you his life story. You got to go catch that for yourself. But yeah, I just feel like, and if anything, I feel like that's just like patriarchy seeping through in what we say are women's capabilities. Because if anybody can't raise anybody, it's men can't raise women because y'all niggas can't even handle periods. So I don't understand where we get this whole women can't raise a man thing. Like, what is it that a woman can't teach a man how to do? Because y'all don't have as much going on with y'all bodies as we do. Y'all have wet dreams, and that's it. Like, and then if you circumcise your child, you ain't got to worry about teaching them how to clean their foreskin and stuff. So I'm just like, what is it exactly? They got short haircuts. Women typically are the ones that do hair anyway. So I just be like, I don't know. I feel like y'all just be trying to tell women they can't do this, and y'all trying to blame all of the worst things on women all the time and our matriarchal households and whatnot. And I just be like, child, I think a woman can do anything she puts her mind to. So Condola want to have her baby and raise that baby by herself, and she got enough money. Clearly, she out here wearing Louboutins with gold heels. I'm rooting for her, and I'm rooting for all the single mothers out there. Am I saying I would want to raise a child by myself? No, because it looks hard. But I just don't think it's necessarily that women can't do it just in general. I think it's more so of, oh no, if they had enough money and they didn't have to work all the time and all that kind of stuff, they probably could. But yeah, anyway, what do you think? Do you think a woman can't raise a man?
Ooh, do I think? Wow, why did this get so intense so fast?
That's what I was talking about just now. I think women can
I
raise
thought you were
men.
just talking about raising babies in general. I actually had this talk this weekend, and I was just saying like how just how much like single moms have to do, and how I mean, now you're gonna get me canceled, Sydney.
Because you know what?
I
Other
honestly
two.
don't think that anybody can do anything like that by themselves. And I'm not saying people don't do it every day, but think about all of the things that you now have to unpack as an adult because you were raised by one person who cannot do it all.
What do you have to unpack?
I'm saying, like, how can you make sure I'm bathed, make sure I have clothes, make sure I have shoes? Like, how do you even know when your kids' shoes don't fit no more? Like, if you're not dressing them, like, now they dress themselves, Like, you got to do everything. Pack their lunches, make sure they have lunch money. If you don't, drop them off at school. If they have extracurricular activities, get them to that. You also have to work and feed yourself and find time to bathe yourself every now and then. And then also they're supposed to be emotionally, I guess, taken care of as well. I just feel like you cannot do everything because you can't be everywhere at once.
But see, my question then becomes is, well, then that would require one parent to stay at home, and we don't see that. We see that both parents are working. So at the end of the day, who is doing all of this stuff
but
anyway?
If both parents are working, then still that you can still split that load of who picks up from this practice and who takes this kid to this piano recital and who helps the kids with homework and who packs. Like, even if both parents are working, like, while the kids are at school, whatever, at least somebody can, you can just balance the load. Like, I can't provide everything my kid needs financially, going to work and all this, and then and do everything they need, survival wise, like feed them and clothe them and house them and all this, and also have time to sit down with them and talk to them about how boys are jerks sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like. I just feel like you can't always. I just feel like one person can't do everything. I just feel like that's just being realistic. One person can't do everything. If my mom is at work all the time and working 2 and 3 jobs to just feed me and take care of me and have gas in the car and stuff like that, I feel like she cannot be there even emotionally to do all the other things.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about a mama that's struggling. I'm talking about a condola. Because Condola's not struggling.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a different situation because I guess I don't really know. I mean, I didn't grow up around a whole bunch of people who weren't struggling. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't grow up around a whole bunch of people who just had it like that. So I don't know. I haven't seen it. But also, I feel like, if you're a real career-driven woman, it's not that you can't do both. I'm not at all saying that there aren't single mothers every day kicking ass, being great moms. I just feel like in general, you cannot do everything. And I feel like if you're a super career-driven person, then it's going to be very hard to do family as well, as far as giving them that same amount of time and energy. Because I can't give all of my energy to work and all of my energy to my children. I'm either going to have to half and half it, but if you half and half it, that means you can't be, to me, where Condola is.
Mm-hmm. But can a woman raise a man? Or is the answer to that still no? Because I'm just asking more so about about whether a woman can raise a man.
I think so. Last week I kind of was talking about how we said, how is there a T.I. and a Mark Lamont Hill if they both grow up in the same kind of environment? And I kept saying, like, well, if your mom and your dad would whatever, and I'm like, I'm not just saying that your home has to be a traditional man and woman make baby kind of thing, but to me it was like, well, how will a man know how to treat a woman if he don't see a man treat a woman a certain way? Like,
but see, I feel like you could learn that from a woman telling you how to treat a woman.
Yeah, you can, but I'm saying I feel like if you're a man, you still need to see how men interact with women. Of course I can tell you, but it's like I can as a woman tell a man. I don't know. That's too hard. I don't know. I don't got kids. I don't want any, so I'm done.
No, I just feel like there's a lot of things that I learned that I didn't have to learn by watching it. If that makes sense. Like, I learned all this Black history wasn't by watching it. I read it in a book. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I don't know. I think,
but also, you are having to read from our Black revolutionaries who are male and female. Like, if you only learn the male ones, like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like you need both. I don't know.
So is it equal then, though? Is my question. So does a girl not need her daddy just as much as a boy needs his daddy? Because again, I feel like
I just think that they're different. I don't think something is needed necessarily more or less than the other. I just think that they both are needed. But I personally feel like, what's that show? Movie. Damn. It's Black. With Fury. With Furious Styles.
You talking about Boys in the Hood?
There we go. Yeah. There we go. How his mom was basically like, okay, well, I can't teach him those things. Like, he needs his father to teach him certain things. Like, yeah, a woman can teach you things, but I feel like if you're a young man, you need a man to teach you things. Whether that's your dad or your grandpa or your uncle or whatever. I just feel like a man needs to
Right, but
teach men
is
certain
the
things.
question I'm trying to ask you is not saying that, like, for instance, a black on black crime is just a way of pathologizing the the black community the same way, and because we say black on black crime, but we don't say white on white crime. So again, is saying a woman can't raise a man just not a way of diminishing women's capabilities, because we don't hear the other side of it. Oh well, a man can't raise a woman, or a boy needs his daddy just as much as a girl needs her daddy. See what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but don't you, I mean, do you think that that's true? Like that,
That's the
a
question that
man
I'm
a man
asking.
can't raise a woman. I don't know. I'm not raising nobody's babies. I don't know. Stop asking me this. My uterus is not open for business. It never will be.
Mm-hmm. Just so everybody knows, I'm not trying to insinuate that men are obsolete. I'm just trying to say all power to the women out there. I think they're capable of doing all things. Am I saying they should have to? No. Am I saying if you want to raise a child with a man that that's a bad thing? Absolutely not. I'm just saying Condola can raise her baby by her damn self.
Well, I'm also very bitter. I don't like Condola. I do not
Why
want her to
don't you
have this
like Condola?
baby.
She minding her business. What
I
did
don't
she
want her to have the
do?
baby. I just feel like it's a two people decision. Not two people decision because you're a woman and it's your body. You should make that decision. But I just feel like I'm not forcing no man to be a dad if he don't want to be, because I don't want my kid to have a shitty
She not
father.
forcing him to be no daddy. She said you can go mind your business. I got
But
this.
that's even worse.
I don't think so.
Like, think about that's selfish to me. That's selfish to be like, oh, well, you don't have to be a part of the baby's life. So my kid now has to figure out why his dad wasn't part of the life because I didn't want to be a father. Like, if you didn't want to be a mother, you can make the decision not to be a mother, but I don't get to make the decision not to be a father.
Well, I feel like you made that decision when you had sex with her without a condom.
But she also made that decision. So if she would have got pregnant and then she decided to have an abortion, she also would have made the decision to have sex without a condom.
Well, maybe we deserve to give women all power to decide that, since they have no other power otherwise.
No, I feel that. Again, women fully have the right to have a baby or have an abortion.
So then why are you mad at Condola for keeping her child?
Because I want Lawrence and Issa to be great, even though I don't like Lawrence either.
So you want Lawrence and Issa to be together, even though God is clearly trying to tell them that this relationship is not for them. You have been first of all, no. We got to think about
God need to be telling Condola.
There are two major signs. There are two major signs that this relationship is not meant to be. First of all, y'all are not together because you got cheated on. So we already have cheating as a part of the relationship. Now y'all finally get back together. Now y'all finally get back together. Now y'all finally get back together. And what's the first thing that happens? Now he done got somebody pregnant. I'm just trying to tell y'all this is not it for y'all. We love to ignore signs.
But also, but this is the thing.
What more signs does the universe need to give y'all? The relationship is not it.
That means he can't take this job in San Fran when this nigga finally got off his ass and out of the Best Buy and got himself a job. Now he can't even have this job because he doesn't choose to be a parent, because we already know Lawrence is not going to be like, oh, she said I don't got to be a parent, so peace out, Cub Scout.
That's his fault, though. That's nobody's fault but his. They nobody get to guilt tripping you. She said, I got this. Meaning, if you want to leave, you have literally been giving a clean slate. You can leave.
No. I'm not doing this with you, Sydney, because I don't like Condola and I don't like her being pregnant. I don't care.
Oh my God. Y'all are some woman hating ass niggas. That's it. Y'all hate women. That's it.
Well, she is a fictional character, so I can hate her.
Nah, y'all hate her because she's a woman, and it's y'all.
I don't hate her because she's a woman.
Hey, your slip is showing. That's how I felt when I saw everybody on the internet coming from Condola. I was like, y'all woman hating, slip is showing.
I didn't come for her. I was disgusted with the whole ending. But honestly, I just finished How to Get Away with Murder the other day, and I'm even more disgusted with that ending, so I'll be fine.
Oh, that was a mess. That
was awful. It pissed me off so bad. Literally the whole last season, because everybody started fucking everybody, and it was too much. That
season, I was talking to Indy about it, and I was like, the more I thought about it, no, let's finish. The more that I thought about it, the more I was like, that was all over the place, and it was just a hot mess. It was like they should have took the last episode and spread it out across the whole season. It was like they told them they had one episode left to wrap up the show, and the whole rest of the season didn't matter. I was like, why is all of this happening in the last 5 minutes of the show?
Y'all could have ended the whole show with a cliffhanger, and I would have been fine with it.
Better than that, because that was a mess. And I've seen people say they like it, but I was reading a critic's review, and it was like, that was a mess. And I was like, you know what? Why did y'all say it like that? It was a mess.
I didn't. First of all, the ending was awful, but the whole season was just like, girl, why did everybody everybody start fucking and sucking on everybody else? Like, how have you been partners with everybody in the whole Keating 5 group? I'm confused.
Hey, look, they were stressed and they needed somewhere to put it, I guess. I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot.
I'm annoyed.
Yeah, but you know what? That's what happens when you go to season 6. I'm starting to think the shows, minus Insecure, because Insecure has done a very good job as far as keeping the show like good. But of course, it also is only 8 episodes and it's also only 30 minutes, which is smart on
Yeah, but
Issa's from Issa's
30
perspective.
minutes and shorter seasons,
Mm-hmm.
shorter episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't gotten to season 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's smart on her part though, because for every show that I've seen that's gotten to season 6 that I've watched from beginning to end, it gets trash. Like Power season 6, it was nothing compared to Power season 1. And the same thing with How to Get Away with Murder season 6 was nothing compared to How to Get Away with Murder season 1. Like they're always much better in the first. Like I give it 4. I give every show about that 4th season. It gets a little shaky from what I have experienced. And if y'all watch any shows out there that y'all done got up to like season 16, season 8, and it's still just as good as it was when the first part started, please send it my way, except for horror shows, because I don't do horror. Alrighty, well, let's wrap up expectations, shall we?
Yeah, we're done with that. So black on black support. Cindy, what you got?
I was gonna say I don't have one. Mine is actually a submission thing. I wanted to put on my website a like one-stop shop for all of the people that I know either through ECU or through Harding that own a business. I understand that there are major platforms and major like search engines for that, like We Buy Black and stuff. But I think it would be nice to know the people that I went to school with that have businesses and being able to support those. So I wanted to put like a database on my website. So say to say if we are either connected through ECU or we are connected through Harding, please DM me your business, a little bit about it, who you are, that kind of thing. Because I wanted to put like a clickable link on my website that would take you like say you own a soap business and we went to Harding together. Cool. Under the home category, soap or cleanliness category or whatever, you would be right there. You click the link, it takes you to your whatever website if you're choosing, whether it be your Instagram or your actual business site. Yeah, shout out to all the Black business owners out there that went to ECU or Harding. Please hit me up on Instagram at @SidTheGreat_Sid SID because I would like to feature your business on my website as a permanent like clickable link.
Let's look at you.
Yeah, I try because I mean I know there's like major ones, but I was like I know there are people out there like Kendrick. I think he owns like it's either a towing business or something like that, and I was like yeah, like I should be able to say hey Kendrick, you in High Point or wherever he lives. I don't even know where he lives, but like, and then it will also be based off of like where you are too, location wise. But just being able to support people that I went to school with, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's dope. Hella dope. I have for my black on black support. I feel like this is another surprise for you guys or another big announcement.
It is.
But my black on black support is going to Eco Daisy Home on Instagram. It is a Black-owned business that sells laundry detergent, air freshener, multi-purpose cleaner, bathroom cleaner, dish soap, hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes. Literally, the queen literally has it all. So if you go to her website, it is ecodaisyusa.com. She has like a very beautiful site just in general. Like I'm the queen of clean, I like to think. I'm always cleaning something.
Oh,
so
absolutely. If nothing,
I was like,
nothing else is true for you, then it is the fact
shit else with my life
that you keep the things clean. I will never forget when I first discovered that when you lived in the dorms that you would get on your hands and knees and scrub the entire surface area of your dormitory floor with Lysol wipe by hand. This girl is clean, okay? And honestly, I aspire to be like you in so many ways, including how clean you are. Like, oh, it's amazing. I commend you because that
cleaning is such a great time.
It's iconic.
But I wanted to tell you about Eco Daisy. So this was started by Dr. Okay, put some respect on the queen's name. Dr. Priscilla Johnson, who is a mom and an environmental activist with a PhD in water resources engineering. I mean, girl.
Yeah, she better go.
Better go. She couldn't find 100% natural cleaning products that met her standards of environmental safety, efficacy, and purity. So she created a line for herself and for families who refuse to risk the health of their families and their environment. She started this company in 2009. And hello, people, it's 2020. So the queen has had the business for 11 years now. Again, she includes a line of multi-purpose cleaner, dish detergent, laundry detergent, glass cleaner, bathroom cleaner, air freshener, hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes. I mean, so the queen literally has it all.
Mm-hmm.
I actually reached out to her to be a part of our Black-owned giveaway.
Yes, ma'am.
And she said yes. She is in the process of sending me some products now. I'm really, really excited to be working with her. And also, for our listeners, you guys get a coupon code, The Living Room 10, to save 10% on your order.
Hey, first
Y'all,
living room
literally,
coupon.
I already got me some disinfecting wipes because my stores are still sold out of Clorox wipes and Lysol wipes. And those are essentials for my home, sanitation wipes. So I got some of those, and I also got, I think, some dish soap because I was looking at my dish soap the other day, and sometimes it's Dawn, sometimes it's Ajax, I don't know, whatever. I don't know the environmental things as far as cleaners. So when I read that on her site, I'm like, okay, water resources engineer, queen, what? I need to know what's good for my environment, but I'm glad you do, and you have the PhD to prove it. So I got some of her products, and I'm really excited to use it. Obviously, I have to wash my dishes every day, and I have to disinfect the things. So I already needed that. So I already bought some stuff with our coupon code because I was not going to play myself, honey. If I could save a ducat, I'm going to save a ducat.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, go on the website, ecodaisyusa.com, or if you go to her Instagram, she has a link in her bio, which is ecodaisyhome. And use the code TheLivingRoom10 to save 10% off your order with Dr. Priscilla Johnson.
Yes. This is so dope.
Yay. Hell yeah, guys. Hell yeah. That is my Black on Black support.
All right. And I said mine. So then we are ready to move on to, let me see if I can get this right. Mental health check-in.
Mental health check-in.
Yes. I actually would just like to take a moment, maybe like 15 seconds. I don't even know if that's long, I'm gonna say 15 seconds. I just want everybody listening to take a deep breath or two deep breaths. Okay, so I'm gonna start the timer. Here we go. And go. Okay. I just wanted to do that because I had realized that since quarantine, coronavirus, either one, like since that had started, I can't remember how long into it, but I felt like it was like 2 months into all the quarantines and isolations and whatnot, and I was like, I don't think I've taken a deep breath in 2 months because I think my breathing,
Wow.
I know. Number one, like when you look up like breathing meditations and breathing in general, like you'll learn that they call it like panic breaths, like very short, shallow breaths, and apparently like we should have been taught as children how to deep breathe, if that makes sense, and how to do it like constantly, like throughout the day, like that's our natural way of breathing. But I think that my breathing got really, really shallow because I was afraid to breathe in the virus. I was like, don't breathe deep, don't breathe deep. And so essentially like when I go to the grocery store or something like that, and I was like, dang. And then I think I was sitting in my room and I think I had like tried to like start doing yoga, start doing meditation in general. And so I had like breathed in really deep and I was like, I can't remember the last time I did that. And I was trying to make a habit of doing like a 10-minute deep breathing meditation that I found on YouTube or just found them in general. But I hadn't done it since I had like probably long before I'd been at my job or something like that. And so I was like, I just want to take a minute with our followers, with our listeners to just take a deep breath or two deep breaths. I took two during that 15 seconds. I don't know how many of y'all took, but just because it's better for you. So sad to say with mental health check-in, I definitely recommend if you have not already, just looking into like deep breathing and deep breathing exercises and learning like what it can do for you and how it can benefit your mental health and your health in general. And then doing like a guided deep breathing on YouTube. Like I always start with like the shortest ones I can find, so like a 5 or a 10-minute video. Because I know it's really, really good for you. I feel the first time I did it, I was like, I don't know what I feel, but I feel something. Like so clearly I don't be doing this on a regular basis. But also I had seen I watched a guy do a TED talk and he was talking about grieving but he was like, he goes around the world and teaches people how to breathe. And I was like, that's a job. Okay. This is a job. But yeah, and just how it would benefit our ability to grieve and things like that, and our ability to handle tough situations or stressful situations, to just take a moment to breathe in deeply. And he does like 5 seconds in, 4 seconds out kind of thing. They have different variations, but yeah, if you look it up on YouTube, you'll find out how to do it. But I definitely recommend that to y'all, because when I do it, I always feel wonderful. Meditate, deep breathing, and yoga. Those three things are it. So that is my mental health check-in.
Okay. Mine is going to be kind of meditative as well. And it is just checking in with your body. I know for myself, I like, since this quarantine started, and I don't remember the exact day, but I started feeling like, dang, I don't remember ever doing this before. I have been clenching my jaw and like just squeezing my teeth together hard as fuck.
Don't do that, girl.
Just chilling. Yeah, I know, and I feel like it's messing up my bite or something.
It absolutely will over time. Trust me. That's why I gotta wear that mouth guard at night. So police.
Yeah. So like when I noticed it, I started like rubbing like my jaw muscles, and they were like super super tight, and I was like, wow, I didn't even realize I was doing that or when that started, because I don't remember doing that before. So my mental health check-in was going to be to check in with your body physically and release tension. Sometimes we're just like frowning for no reason, like squinching the muscles of our face, or like me, clenching your jaw. You don't even realize it. So literally just take a deep, deep breath. Think about if your shoulders are tight and squeezed up, and relax those down. Relax your jaw, relax your lips, relax your eyebrows. Just relax all the muscles and allow yourself just time to just, like Cindy said, just breathe and check in with your body, because our stresses are going to manifest physically. Absolutely. And you'll notice them, but you just have to pay attention. Like, what am I doing that's not normal? It's not healthy. It's not beneficial to my body, or how I'm carrying my stress. And let me go ahead and release that and be conscious of it, because now that I know that I do that jaw clenching thing, now I'm much more conscious. If I'm just scrolling on Instagram or watching TV or reading or something, I'll be like, let me just check in with myself. And I'll be like, oh, wow, my jaw was clenched that whole time. So just checking in with yourself and your body and seeing where you're manifesting and carrying stress in your body. That's my mental health check-in.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Also, I wanted to point out real quick. So I'm finished with my June reading. So my July read is called You Have the Right to Remain Innocent, written by James Duane. He is a professor at a law school in Virginia Beach. And he is the co-author of several books, basically about protecting your rights and your constitutional rights. And I was thinking about how we often don't know that we're waiving our rights out of fear, and usually it's because somebody has their hand on a gun, and that is a terrifying situation. So you kind of just tend to listen to whoever with a gun says. But I was thinking about how we don't know our rights. I was thinking about how when I moved to California, nobody told me like any specific laws, that they have here that I didn't have in North Carolina. So I'm like, I could very well be breaking a law and not have a single clue. Yeah. Who the fuck tells you the list of laws for your specific state or what have you? So I was thinking about how many things I don't know as far as law and your civil rights and your constitutional rights. And I was thinking that it was just like, well, I don't know them because I haven't read them, and nobody's going to teach me. Nobody's going to go out their way to make sure that I am safe as a Black woman. So I figured it was time for me to start reading more law books, more human rights books. So that is a book that I picked up for the month of July that I'll be reading, so I can give you guys some updates on it as I get into it and get to reading it. But again, it's called You Have the Right to Remain Innocent by James Duane. So if there's something that you feel like you can focus on to make yourself a better person, find a book about it, a textbook, a regular book, something. And again, look for those Black-owned bookstores. Yes, ma'am. That's the end of that.
Alrighty.
Cindy, do you have any affirmations for us to send us off on a good note for the week?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I felt like I had one, and I started looking at Cam Newton's Freedom Locks, and
they're so beautiful.
No, they are. I was gonna post it on my story, but do you have affirmation? I'm about to say I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'll come back.
My affirmation was just simple. It was just gonna be do it. If you're thinking about something that you need to do, take the leap of faith, y'all. Like, you would much rather try and quote unquote fail, which there are no failures besides the ones that you don't attempt. Just
Absolutely.
try it. And if you fail, oh well, girl, it's a story that you have. It's something else to put in your arsenal. It's an experience to add to how you move throughout the rest of your life. But if you're thinking of starting boutique, just do it. You may decide you don't like it or it's too much work, too much stress, but just do it. Why not? If you're thinking about starting a podcast, girl, just do it. You don't know. Somebody might be craving the information that you have or the entertainment that you have. If you want to start a YouTube, if you want to learn a new language, if you want to learn a new instrument. And I feel like now is a better time than any to just do it. Just Nike it. Just do it. It don't have to be perfect. You can worry about perfecting your business, your craft, your writing, your blog, your videos. You can worry about perfecting things and getting the right graphics or whatever. You can worry about doing all those things later. Literally, Cindy and I have talked about a giveaway since we started the podcast, and we have not gotten to it. And the other day I was just thinking, I'm like, it's crazy how long we talked about what we were going to do, and now we're coming up on a year and we haven't done it. So I was like, I'm gonna just do it. So literally I spent 5 hours in the same spot and didn't move. Everything was hurting, like my back, everything was killing me because I didn't move the whole time, blasting out emails. And here we are about to have the dopest giveaway of all time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, my affirmation for y'all is just do it. Whatever it is. If it's I want to start working out, just do it. Work out, girl. You don't have to know what you're doing. Just you can worry about that stuff later. Just motivate yourself to do whatever it is that you want to do in this life, because as we know and as we've seen and as we keep having to see, life is so short. We don't know when our time's up, so just do it.
And I will piggyback off of that and say that quote that you learn more from failure than you do success. So say that to say, if you fear failing, remember that the only thing that that's going to bring about is learning anyway. So like Aisha said, just do it, just try it anyway. And I mean, honestly, again, as we've also said on the podcast previously, forgive yourself if you also just don't feel like doing nothing. But if you feel like doing something while we're on this quarantine, if you're trying to come out with an LLC, you're trying to come out with, I don't know, different body or something, just do it and forgive yourself for any mishaps, for any failures, and then, hop back on the horse. That's my favorite one. So my affirmation is hop back on the horse.
Amen. All right, people. Well, I am Aisha Damali.
I am Sid the Great, and y'all about to rock out to this good old Take Heed by Chief Ray. So I'm signing off.
Take heed. Yeah. All right, y'all. So peace out. Go jam.
Take heed. Say a prayer, praise God, have a seat. It's a lot of broken heart, heavy hands in the seat. I've been reaching through this rap shit for a while, that's on me. I've been paying all these taxes for a while, that's on me. Won't believe it. Got the water boiling, now I'm trying to keep it heated. My life is a story, only I cannot repeat it. Many allegories, over time I'm trying to feed them. Ain't no difference in the grass on me and your side. Plenty water, plenty sun, enough for everybody. We lost cause I want them back streets of Brookshire. I be riding silent, sliding down Brookshire. Oh my God. Niggas holler next, they ain't leaving next. I cracked it slowly for a decade, I ain't seen a check. They had my number for a while, I ain't seen a tech. Spirit told me build my own, keep my foot on next. 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 Keep my foot on next.